In the annals of history, few figures are as enigmatic or as profoundly misunderstood as the eunuchs of the Byzantine Empire. For centuries, in the heart of one of the most sophisticated civilizations the world has ever known, these castrated men, often dismissed by later ages as mere servants, wielded a hidden power so extraordinary it shaped empires and dethroned emperors from the shadows. Welcome to Echoes of Time, your portal to the forgotten pages of history. Tonight, we journey deep into the opulent chambers and formidable battlefields of Byzantium to unmask the true nature of these lost courtiers. How did individuals traditionally marginalized, stripped of the very markers of conventional masculinity, achieve such unparalleled authority at the very pinnacle of power? This is a question that challenges our preconceived notions of influence, status, and the very mechanics of imperial rule. The story of Byzantium's eunuchs is not a simple footnote. It is a central, yet largely untold chapter in the narrative of power, intrigue, and survival in the Eastern Roman Empire. The Byzantine Empire, often called the Eastern Roman Empire, stood as a beacon of civilization for over 1,000 years, a sprawling tapestry of Hellenistic and Roman traditions woven together with Christian faith. Its capital, Constantinople, was a city of unparalleled grandeur, a jewel of architecture, art, and intellectual prowess, strategically positioned at the crossroads of continents. Yet, beneath the glittering surface of imperial ceremony and theological debate, a complex web of political maneuvering constantly threatened to unravel the empire. It was within this intricate socio-political landscape that the eunuchs not only survived, but thrived, ascending to heights of power that defy modern expectation. Far from being simplistic portrayals of emasculated men confined to domestic drudgery, historical records reveal a reality of immense agency and influence. From the highest echelons of administration to the command of formidable armies, eunuchs were central figures in virtually every sphere of Byzantine imperial life. They navigated the treacherous currents of court politics with a skill and acumen that often outmatched their rivals, earning positions of trust and authority directly from the emperor himself. Their presence was pervasive, a testament to a unique social and political arrangement that challenges many historical assumptions. They were not just present, they were instrumental, their decisions rippling through the fabric of the empire, dictating policy, managing state finances, and even leading military campaigns that decided the fate of vast territories. Consider the legendary figure of Narses, a name that echoes with the thunder of hooves and the clash of swords across the Italian peninsula. Far from a desk-bound bureaucrat, Narses was a eunuch general who, in the 6th century, reconquered Italy for Emperor Justinian, turning the tide against the Ostrogoths and restoring a semblance of Roman authority to the West. His military brilliance was undeniable, his strategic genius on par with the greatest commanders of his age. How could a man, by definition outside the traditional martial hierarchy of his time, rise to such a position of ultimate command, entrusted with the lives of thousands and the destiny of an entire continent? Narses stands as a monumental challenge to the simplistic narrative, a living testament to the extraordinary capabilities and trust placed in these castrated men. Beyond the battlefield, in the labyrinthian corridors of the Great Palace, existed another class of eunuchs whose power was equally, if not more, insidious and far-reaching. These were the praepositi sacri cubiculi, the chiefs of the sacred bedchamber. Their title might suggest merely a domestic role, but the reality was far more profound. They controlled direct access to the emperor, acting as gatekeepers, confidants, and often the emperor's closest advisors. In a world where proximity to power was paramount, these individuals held the keys to the imperial presence itself. They filtered information, presented petitions, managed appointments, and often dictated policy through their unique relationship with the sovereign. Their influence could make or break careers, elevate families, or condemn rivals to obscurity. They were the emperor's shadow, his ears and eyes, and through him, the quiet orchestrators of imperial will. The very destiny of the Eastern Roman Empire, its laws, its treaties, its wars, often hung on the whispered counsel of these chiefs of the sacred bedchamber. Past explanations for this remarkable phenomenon often attributed the eunuchs' mise to what was perceived as their neutrality. Without the ability to father children, they could not found dynasties, thus posing no direct dynastic threat to the reigning imperial family. This made them seem like safe choices for powerful positions, ostensibly free from the familial ambitions that often plagued aristocratic factions. Furthermore, their perceived lack of conventional male drives was sometimes interpreted as an advantage in positions requiring dispassionate judgment and unwavering loyalty. This explanation, while seemingly logical on the surface, only scratches the surface of a much deeper, more complex reality. It simplifies their rise to mere absence of threat, overlooking the very active and deliberate choices made by emperors and the profound sociocultural context within which they operated. It fails to account for the true depth of their power and the varied roles they assumed, from generals to chief ministers, from chamberlains to patriarchs. Our exploration confronts fascinating hypotheses and lingering debates that seek to unravel this profound historical enigma. We delve beyond the superficial, into the intricate socio-political tapestry that allowed eunuchs to not just survive, but thrive at the pinnacle of power. One compelling hypothesis suggests that their power was a deliberate imperial strategy, a calculated move to curb aristocratic influence. The Byzantine emperors were constantly battling the power of the traditional noble families, whose wealth, land, and military might often threatened the imperial throne. By elevating eunuchs, individuals who, by their very nature, stood outside the conventional aristocratic lineage and could not pass on their power to heirs, the emperor could create a loyal bureaucratic class directly dependent on him. This strategy would have allowed emperors to centralize power, bypassing the often turbulent loyalties of the old nobility and creating a powerful administrative backbone beholden solely to the imperial will. In this view, eunuchs became an essential tool in maintaining imperial stability, acting as a counterweight to the powerful, land-owning magnates who constantly vied for influence. They represented a pure channel of imperial authority, unburdened by the competing claims of family and patrimony that characterized the aristocratic class. This was not a passive acceptance, but an active, strategic manipulation of social structures for political ends. Another perspective argues that their unique status, existing outside conventional social structures, granted them a freedom and objectivity unmatched by others. Unlike other courtiers or officials, eunuchs were not beholden to the expectations of family, lineage, or the pressure to produce heirs. This liberation from traditional societal constraints might have allowed them a singular focus on their duties and an unwavering loyalty to the emperor, who was often their sole patron and protector. Their detachment from conventional social norms could have fostered a sense of objective detachment, allowing them to assess situations and offer counsel free from personal bias or factional interests. In a court rife with intrigue and shifting alliances, such objectivity would have been an invaluable asset to any emperor seeking honest advice and effective administration. This interpretation paints them not just as tools, but as agents uniquely positioned to see the broader imperial interest, unclouded by the myriad personal agendas that permeated the Byzantine elite. Some scholars further argue that their rise was a testament to their exceptional administrative and intellectual capabilities. The brutal reality of castration meant that only those with formidable intellect, resilience, and ambition could hope to overcome their physical disadvantage and climb the treacherous ladder of imperial service. Many eunuchs were highly educated, often trained from a young age in rhetoric, law, theology, and administration, skills that were indispensable in the complex bureaucracy of Byzantium. Their lack of family obligations, far from being a mere neutral factor, may have allowed them to devote themselves entirely to their studies and careers, mastering the intricacies of governance, finance, and military strategy. Figures like Narses exemplify this, a man whose administrative acumen likely preceded his military command, suggesting a deep-seated ability to grasp and manipulate complex systems. Their success, therefore, was not merely a consequence of imperial strategy or social anomaly, but a hard-won victory of intellect and talent against societal prejudice, a testament to their individual brilliance in a highly competitive environment. Finally, we must consider the spiritual dimension of their celibacy, which might have elevated them in a deeply religious society like Byzantium. In a Christian empire, celibacy, particularly for men, was often associated with spiritual purity and devotion. Monks and clergy who chose a life of celibacy were revered for their sacrifice and dedication to God. While involuntary, the eunuch's castrated status meant they were, by definition, celibate. This status could have been interpreted as a form of sacred celibacy, placing them in a unique spiritual category, perhaps even seen as closer to the divine in a society that valued asceticism and spiritual devotion. This spiritual elevation could have enhanced their authority, endowing them with a moral legitimacy that other courtiers lacked. It offered a profound counter-narrative to the societal stigma of their physical condition, transforming a perceived weakness into a source of spiritual strength and respect, especially in the eyes of pious emperors and a devout populace. The truth, as is often the case with complex historical phenomena, likely lies in a subtle interplay of all these factors. It was not a single cause, but an intricate confluence of strategic imperial design, their unique socio-cultural positioning, their undoubtable individual talents, and the spiritual interpretations of their celibacy that collectively allowed eunuchs to carve out such an extraordinary sphere of influence. Their story is a powerful reminder that history is rarely simple, and power manifests in forms far more diverse and unexpected than conventional narratives often suggest. They were not merely cogs in a machine, but active agents who understood and manipulated the intricate levers of power, often dictating the very destiny of the Eastern Roman Empire. The journey through the captivating world of Byzantium's eunuch empire compels us to reconsider our understanding of power structures, social marginalization, and human potential. It forces us to ask how many other lost courtiers or forgotten pages of history still await our discovery, challenging our assumptions and enriching our understanding of humanity's past. The story of Byzantium's eunuchs reveals how individuals, against immense odds and conventional expectations, can rise to command, influence, and shape the course of civilizations. Their tale is an echo, not of a lost voice, but of a powerful, enduring presence that fundamentally shaped one of history's greatest empires. As we conclude our journey through the echoes of this fascinating and often misunderstood corner of history, we are left with enduring questions. How much of their enduring power was due to a clever, calculating imperial strategy? And how much was the organic outgrowth of their exceptional abilities and unique social position? In an age that valued lineage and martial prowess above all, what hidden mechanisms truly elevated these men to heights of command and counsel? And what does their extraordinary rise reveal about the inherent fluidity of power, even in the most rigid of historical societies? These are the secrets that lie under the dust of centuries, the stories that never made it into the mainstream history books until now. The Byzantine eunuchs were not just historical anomalies. They were master strategists, brilliant administrators, and formidable leaders whose impact reverberates through the ages. Their narrative compels us to look beyond simplistic portrayals and delve into the intricate socio-political tapestry of their time to better understand not just their empire, but the enduring nature of power itself. Join us again on Echoes of Time, where every discovery is an echo of humanity's great history. And don't forget to subscribe to Echoes of Time and hit the notification bell so you never miss our historical explorations. What other hidden powers, disguised as weakness, lie waiting to be unmasked in the forgotten pages of time?